Hey, what's up guys? I'm Matt here, MonsterGadgets. I hope you're all having a wonderful day wherever you might be. Thank you so much for joining me. And as you guys can see today, this is a bit of a different video. You are in my basement and I'm gonna talk to you guys in detail about my experiences, pros and cons of the robot vacuum, the Roomba robot vacuum. If you have not checked out my previous video, I'll go ahead and card it here. I originally did an unboxing and setup as well as a demonstration of it out on my first floor. And most recently I moved it downstairs in the basement because of our dog Zoe. She tends to make a bigger mess down here, so I've been using the vacuum down here more so than upstairs. I'll go ahead and give you guys my pros and cons of this vacuum, as well as go through the app and see what functionality currently exists as of today. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Alright guys, welcome back. So here is the vacuum. It is currently set up in the corner of our basement, and as you guys can see, I would say this is a fairly decent sized basement, and it takes about 45 minutes for this vacuum to do its full round and clean the hardwood floors. But on the vacuum itself, I do have the dust collect bin here, which you can open up just like this, and it's got a bag with a filter in it that collects all the stuff that it vacuums up. And then here's the vacuum itself, and you do have some controls on here for home, clean, as well as for just kind of where it's at, just at a point. And then you've got some sensors and things like that on there as well. Now I have, like I said, I've had this set up for about a few months now. I actually have not emptied this dustbin yet, where it collects all the garbage, so it can take up to 90 days of waste in it. So I would say so far that's pretty accurate because it's been a few months now and I have not had to empty this out. One thing that I do want to show you later on in this video is how loud this unit actually gets. The vacuum itself is fairly decent. It is loud, but for the job that it does, I don't mind the noise. When it comes in and docks itself back on here to empty out into the station, it becomes extremely loud for about, I would say, 10 seconds maybe, something like that. So we'll go ahead and do a test of that later on. But for now, let's go ahead and go into the app, make this thing run so you guys can take a look and see what it looks like. And yeah, so let's go ahead and look at the app. All right, here's the app itself. And as you guys can see, it says ready to vacuum. It is fully charged, and you can do a couple different things. You can go ahead and set up your favorites. So you can set up different zones for it to vacuum, or you can do vacuum everywhere. You can hit that plus icon there to set up different zones. Right now I have everything except Zoe. Again, Zoe is my dog. And then vacuum everywhere, that's a default setting. So with everything except Zoe, in Zoe's room, I don't want it to vacuum in there, but everywhere else, that's where I go ahead and select as one of my favorites. So let's go back here. We're gonna go ahead and select new job, and it's gonna ask you which rooms, after it's mapped it out, which rooms you're gonna vacuum. And you can go ahead and select all, and then you can customize your names for your rooms. So right now I have playroom, guest room, Zoe, and family room. And again, this is all in the basement. So I'm gonna go ahead and select, for example, the playroom, and just for the sake of example here, we'll just go ahead and select one. But if you wanted to do more, you can do what order you want those rooms to be cleaned in. So depending on what you choose, automatically sets those priorities as you select them. When you're ready to start, you can go ahead and hit start, and you guys will see how this is gonna activate and turn on. So let's go ahead and start now. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out. And it basically starts to clean. Just like that. So I'm gonna stay quiet just so you guys can kind of get a sense of how loud this is and just the movements of it. Right? If it's going, you can go ahead and pause it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause it. And then it's gonna ask you, it's gonna go ahead and stop right there. It's gonna ask you what do you want it to do. Do you want it to resume, or do you want it to send it home? So I'm gonna go ahead and send it home so you guys can take a look and see what it looks like when it returns back to its base. There it comes. that is how loud it gets when it comes back to its base and basically empties out from the bottom and collects the garbage in here. So that is how loud as it gets. Again, it's about 8 to 10 seconds maybe, but that is extremely loud. So if you are someone who is a light sleeper and you turn this on at night and you want it to come and empty itself from the base, most likely it's going to wake you up as loud as it gets, as you guys can just see here. But the vacuum itself, when it's running, it's not overly loud, it's doable. I consider myself a light sleeper, and this really doesn't bother me when this goes on at night. But that, if you empty it, that is quite loud itself. All right, so that is the noise level between the two. So I do, again, the pros, I guess, offsets the con as far as the noise go, but the vacuum does an exceptional job at cleaning up all the small debris and collecting it back into its dustbin. All right. From the app, you can also go ahead and schedule it for a certain time. So when you click on schedule, it's going to say create a schedule. You can go ahead and create a schedule from there. So you can do a certain time, start time, and when you want to repeat it, which days, which zones you want it to vacuum on. You can go ahead and select all of that from here. And then you can go ahead and also do an automation, where instead of running at a specific time, ZBot will begin the job first time it detects you leave your home. Or you can go ahead and do automation, which basically, instead of running at a specific time, ZBot will run when it detects that you have left your home. So you can go ahead and enable that. That does require GPS settings, so that way, or access for GPS, so that way it knows when you're away. It's going to detect it from your phone, and then you can go ahead and do the same thing, repeat on which days you want, which zones you want, and you can go ahead and schedule it from there. If you go back into the app, no, we don't want to report you. Let's see. You can take a look at the history of what jobs that it completed. So overall, for the area, it tells you the total area that's been cleaned so far. For me, again, I've had it for a few months now. In the last 30 days, 39,000 square feet. So we're just running right now for 2 minutes. It tells you it's been canceled. You can go ahead and get a report card of what areas it did cover and when it was canceled and brought back home, which is really nice. So this is the map basically that the robot vacuum learned over time. I think I had to teach it. It did like 3 rounds, and then after that I was able to assign what rooms are what in my area. But overall, for example, lifetime, if you guys are interested, again, I've had it for about a few months now. I've done 97 jobs on this vacuum, 64-hour runtime, 28 events where it detected more than normal debris, so that counts as a dirt event, and then it's emptied 91 times, and again, it gives you a full history of how long it ran and when it ran for. So 2 minutes today, we canceled it. It did run this morning at 10:44, or again 54 minutes. So typically it does take about 45 to 50 minutes for it to cover my full basement. Going back to the main screen here, and then let's see, outside of that, it just kind of gives you tips, some messages, things like that. You can go into your robot settings, customize it to do certain tones, when you want your cleaning preferences to be set, which Wi-Fi you're setting it to, and things like that. So very intuitive, very easy to kind of maneuver through. Very intuitive, very easy to go through the app and set up new jobs and set up different areas. One question that most people might have is, how do you set up different maps on different units or different floors? What I did was, when I first brought it downstairs, you basically go into maps, and then here you can go ahead and click on the 3 buttons there, and you basically select mapping run. And so you put it in the new place that you want to have it run, the mapping program, and you click on mapping run. Again, it takes about 3 tries for it to do its full course, and then it'll tell you the map is ready, and then you can go ahead and assign different rooms, different names. That way you've got that map set up. So you can have it set up in different areas. Now keep in mind, you physically obviously do have to move the vacuum from, for example, first floor to the second floor. That way you can go ahead and map out the different areas for it to work well. One thing that I have not tried that I think will work is, if you leave your base upstairs and you put your vacuum downstairs, you should still be able to do the mapping section and still clean it, but obviously you will not be able to come back to the base, recharge, and empty. So that's something you'll have to do manually. In my case, because I do plan on keeping this in the basement, I did move both the units, the dustbin as well as the vacuum, downstairs, and that's where it currently sits, and I don't really move it upstairs and use it upstairs at all right now. So that's kind of my setup here, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.